What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for today. We do finally have the official start to March Madness, so I want to actually have two plays in today's video that's going to be associated with March Madness. I already gave you guys yesterday's South Florida money line versus Louisville. I still really like that play. It's happening in the morning, so I hope you guys can get that in. If you guys have not got that in already, that is my official play of the day for a straight bet. But I will have some player props in today's video. For some reason this year I want to lean harder into March Madness. I feel like 2 years ago I leaned pretty hard into March Madness. I learned a lot about it because it was my first year betting on March Madness. We did pretty well. Last year I actually did not bet that much on March Madness for some reason. I just didn't really get into it. I think I was just more concerned with esports and stuff and maybe the NBA. But this year I want to get back into March Madness. I'm probably going to be picking a lot of March Madness player props in the next couple of weeks here, and I want to get into the tournament. I want to watch it. I want to get into it. I want to find the players that can make runs and stuff. March Madness is a very, very interesting tournament. I think there's nothing like it, especially in sports betting, because you can really find players that have these runs, these like 4 to 5 game runs where they just have these Cinderella streaks and they're putting up 20, 25 points a game. And if you can get and you can locate those players early, sometimes it doesn't have to be points. Sometimes it can be rebounds or just how certain teams are utilizing these players in this tournament. You can have like 4 or 5 games in a row where you might take their over or their under, whatever it is, and you can hit like 4 to 5 games in a row with just one specific player, and you can identify maybe like 6 of those players or 7 of those players, and every day you're gonna take those players. So hopefully gonna do that. Long story short, gonna be taking a lot of March Madness plays, and we're gonna be tracking that very closely. Going over yesterday though, guys, we did hit the SGA taco. I talked about this in yesterday's video as well because this play actually hit during the video, which was kind of cool to see. I talked about this during the video, and he was at about like 7 right here, and then by the time that the video finished, which the video is like 15 minutes long or whatever that I do every day, he was at like 12. Okay, so he had already hit, and that was really nice to see. Mid-video hit, which I think is the first time that has ever happened. You're gonna see that a miss right here in on Prizepicks. I took the unders and the overs hit. This game was probably a longer game being played. Talk about this all the time. This is literally our bread and butter, especially on Prizepicks, is I take correlation. All right, so I have 2 Counter-Strike guys. I take them under together. I'm hoping for a shorter game, and a longer game occurs, so these guys go way over together. Now you're going to see on Underdog, we actually hit this play right here for a 3.5x, and we hit this one for a 3.5x as well today, so that's really nice to see. And then we have this setup as well. And this Polo guy, by the way, he went into 3 overtime, so this was a longer game, and he was actually the worst performer on his team. So even though he was the worst performer on his team, he still had 34 kills because this game was such a long game. It went into triple overtime. So I mean, literally, if this game didn't go into triple overtime, there was no way he was going to get 34 kills. The only reason why he got just over the finish line there and did go over is because this was such a long game for him, and that's going to happen in Counter-Strike. Now, one concept I do want to explain in today's video on this screen is that we hit a 3.5x right here, which means that we go up 2.5 units from this entry alone. And I've talked a lot about Underdog, and they give out really good payouts, which is a 3.5x, which is amazing to see. Prizepicks only gives out 3x's, so if you're going to take 2-man entries, I highly recommend taking them on Underdog Fantasy. It's just the better app at the moment. There's really nothing else to say. But I do want to get back to my point that this is a 2.5x. So you see that we had a miss right here, we had a miss down here in the bottom right, and then we had 2 hits, right? So you could look at the screen and be like, all right, so you went 2 and 2, right? You had a hit right here, you had a hit up here, and then you had 2 misses, right? You went 50-50. So, that's good, but it's not the best, And, I'll agree with you. It's not the best thing ever. It's not like we had some massive 15-unit day. But I do want to explain that we go up 2.5 units from this entry. If you don't understand the math there, let's say you put $10 down on this play, you would win $35. So you would put 10 on, you would win 35. So technically you would profit $25, which would be 2.5 units if your unit size was $10, because that's what you played on this entry. So you win 2.5 units from this entry alone hitting, and you go down a unit from this entry because it misses, and you go down a unit right here in the bottom right again because this entry misses. So that means you have -1, -1, that's -2. You have 2.5 -2, which means just from this entry alone hitting, you go up 0.5 units on the day. Let's say if there were just these 3 entries hit, you would go up 0.5 units from just 1 out of 3 entries hitting. And this is why I always talk about our record being a lot of losses, right? We have 400 losses actually now, and we have 128 wins because a lot of the entries, especially when you're talking about Prizepicks, and I'm playing a lot of 4-mans like this, you're going to have higher payouts and you're going to see a lot of losses. So we go up 0.5 units just from 1 entry hitting when you have 2 losses. And then I didn't even talk about this one in the top right, where we also go up 2.5 units as well. So if you add everything together, guys, this is 5 units going up 2.5 plus 2.5, obviously, and then you have -1, so 5 minus 2, if you add that all up, is 3 units from Underdog Fantasy right here. Plus we have another setup going into, actually this is going into Friday, okay? So we have an entry going into Friday, another 3.5x. So just want to understand the math behind these things because, it's great to go up 3 units and, pat ourselves on the back, big thumbs up, but you need to understand the math, and you really need to drill the math in your head, especially on losing days, right? If we went actually 0-5 and literally nothing hit, you need to understand and have that that frame that the math is going to play itself out, and just a couple of hits and you can be back break even, and the things are going to eventually play themselves out, right? And if you don't understand, if you don't believe me, you'll see that we're up 50 units so far this year on Prizepicks Underdog. We're up about 30 units on the straight bets. Here is 2024, here is 2025. 2024 went up 600 units. 2025 we went up 270 units, okay? So I do this long-term stuff very well. I know what I'm doing. I've bet for about 28, 29 months now on this channel. Everything is tracked. I have probably like 400 videos you guys can go back and scroll through just to show that I'm legit. I do the same stuff pretty much every day, showing, being transparent. You're going to see a lot of ups and downs throughout this journey. I mean, you go up 600 units. Find me anyone who's gone up 600 units in a year on YouTube or on Twitter or whatever it is that can actually prove it on Pikkit. You guys can go to December 30th, December 31st of 2024, and you guys will see me showing the Pikkit graph of the entire year. And again, this year, 600 units, 270 units, whatever it is, there's ups and downs in this year, guys. We had bad little, streaks and stuff, and this is what's going to happen in sports betting is you have bad streaks, you have great streaks, and you got to stay level-headed throughout these things. So I'm going to get into the plays. I have 2 picks for you guys today. I have a pick on Underdog Fantasy. This is going to be my first pick of the day. Go ahead and sign up for Underdog. I told you guys they have better payouts than Prizepicks. That's just a fact. So sign up for Underdog. I highly recommend it. This is going to be the later play, and then I have a play that's going to be an earlier play, okay? So the play on Prizepicks is actually happening at about 2 p.m., and then the play on Underdog is the later play. So this one's happening for the night game, which is Penn versus Illinois. I want to get into these plays and why I really like this one right here. So a couple of things are true with March Madness, guys. You have teams that are playing their heart out, okay? You have teams, you have players. Some of these players is potentially their last game ever playing basketball. Some of these teams, all of these teams, if they lose, they're completely out of the tournament. So what does that mean for us? That means that every player in this tournament, every coach is playing their players about 4 to 5 minutes longer than they normally do, okay? So all of their starters are getting an additional couple of minutes, and 3 to 5 minutes in college basketball can make all the difference. That can be an extra rebound, an extra couple of points, an extra couple of free throws. Generally, a lot of these games are going to go into a very close game as well, especially once we start getting into like the second week, because a lot of these teams are very, very close in skill level, really, because they made the tournament, of course. Now, with this guy here, I'm showing you guys all of 2026. I really am not a big proponent of the last 5, last 10, last 15 type of stuff here because it's just not a very good indicator. We're going into March Madness. You'll see the last 15 games, he's hit at a pretty good hit rate. I'm happy about that. I'm happy that he's able to get rebounds. But what my favorite thing, and this is an app called Pick Finder that I use a decent amount. I don't use it for everything, but I do use it quite a lot for some of these things. Is that I really like this prop history that they have. This is my favorite part of their tool. And you will see that, hopefully you guys can see this on the far right of the screen, but you will see he plays on Illinois. You'll see that they played Wisconsin, a pretty respectable team, and his line was 7, okay? So he ended up getting 2 rebounds. I don't care about that, okay? He's going to maybe get 2 rebounds. He might get 11 rebounds or 12 rebounds, but I really care about what these apps set his line at in previous games. So they just set his line a couple of days ago, on the 13th. They had his line at 7, okay? These apps, I talk about this all the time, is to use the apps against themselves. These apps know what they're talking about. Dabble, they might be a little bit of a weaker book in terms of, being a super sharp book, but they know what they're talking about generally, okay? They know where these lines should be. Prizepicks, Underdog, Sleeper, Parlay Play, FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever it is, these apps and these different, businesses, they know where to set these players' lines, right? A couple of days before that, his line again was at 7. A couple of days before that, his line was at 6. Days before that, 6.5 on Underdog, 6.5 on Underdog. So, what I'm gathering here, 8 on Dabble here, he's probably facing a weaker team here. USC is probably a bad rebounding team or something like that, and that's why his line was so high. But you'll see that all the times he has played, his line has been much higher than it is right now at 5.5, okay? You will see his average line actually in all these games is 6.28, okay? So his average rebounding line that has been set, right? Not his average over the last 15 games or all of 2026, but I'm talking about where his line should be is at about 6.2 to 6.3. And his line right now on Prizepicks is at 6.5. So this is really digging into why I like these props, because the line is very off right now on Prizepicks than what it normally is just a couple of days ago, okay? And then on top of this, you have a player that is going to be playing additional minutes in a very important game, one of the most important games of his life, playing a team that they probably should win against as well. You have Illinois versus Penn, but again, that doesn't really matter too much to me. So first prop of the day, that's why I really like that. It was a longer winded explanation. If you guys like the longer winded explanation, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I might start doing it more. A lot of times I just tell you guys, hey, take is over because, I do all the research on the back end. And then the second pick is going to be Skies on Call of Duty. I could really go into the weeds here as well, but I'm not going to. This is going to actually be Friday night, okay? Friday at 5 p.m. So we got to wait a little bit for this one. No problem on that. Before I get into the Prizepicks play, this one's going to be actually the earlier pick. I do want to say I highly recommend signing up for one of these apps that I promote, guys. Novig, 1 month free of the VIP. Sleeper, 2 months free of the VIP, plus I'm giving you your $10 deposit back via Cash App or Venmo. Really easy to get into the VIP. You guys sign up for REBET. Text me REBET to this number on the screen. If you guys see any of these apps that you don't have yet, or you want to sign up for them, start profiting long term, like for example, if you're like, I have no idea what REBET is, well, ONYX and REBET, you have it right here tracked, right? So does it look pretty good, ONYX and REBET? This is what we've been doing on ONYX and REBET this year. So go ahead and get REBET. My number is up here on the screen. Just text me REBET, text me Sleeper, text me Novig, text me Underdog if you don't have it. Kalshi's another one. I have a lot of apps you guys can sign up for. My number is right here. It's my personal number. I'll respond to you within 5 to 10 minutes. I'll get you signed up for one of these apps. I'll get you in the VIP, and you can get about 8 plays a day that I try to send out to my VIP members, okay? So that is how you get into the VIP. Really simply, if you want to buy a month or a week pass, I can also walk you through that if you want to text me. And this is going to be the second pick of the day. It's going to be on Prizepicks. Now, one thing about Prizepicks, guys, is it's a 3x, okay? So it's not as good as Underdog. One thing about Prizepicks, though, versus Underdog is you can't take these combo props, which I'll get into, which I actually really like. But let's get into this prop. We have Caden Boozer, who is Cameron Boozer's brother, which is probably going to be one of the most bet-on players of all of March Madness. But you have Caden Boozer, and very similar story. Now, if you look at his past 20 games, he's gone under this quite a lot, but I do want to say he's going to be playing more minutes than he has these past couple of games, right? A lot of these games, he's playing like 23 minutes. He's probably going to be more in this like 27 to 28 minute range in March Madness time, okay? So he's going to be playing more minutes than he did in kind of this like red range that you see in his last 20 games. So just keep that in mind. But again, I want to go to the prop history, okay? The prop history is where I'm really going to base a lot of these things off of. Now, he has less prop history than the other guy did. I don't even want to try to pronounce the other guy's name, but he has 3 games that we can look at, right? He has a game on the 14th versus Virginia, and his line was 15.5. Now, he ends up getting 25 PRA, but again, Underdog set his line at 15.5. Underdog knows what they're doing, okay? Even though they have soft lines sometimes, they generally know what they're doing. Versus Clemson, his line was 12.5. Versus Florida State, his line was 17. Now, there are some games that he starts, some games he doesn't start, some games he kind of goes middle of the road, okay? It's going to be a hard call here. It's going to be hard to know if he's going to play how many minutes versus that. We're going to have to monitor throughout the weeks. Again, nothing is guaranteed in sports betting. I don't have all the answers. I can't tell you guys, if he's going to play 20 minutes or if he's going to play 35 minutes or 40 minutes, okay? I can't tell you guys this. I'm not the coach. I don't know what's going to actually go down tomorrow in the game, but I do really like his under 18.5 right now. I think it should be more like 17, okay? Based on the odds that I'm seeing and based on what I'm seeing the past couple of weeks of what his line should be. And then we have, again, Caden Boozer under PRA. This is going to be the play of the day. And then we have Clear Raptor Vikla to go under 33. I think that this team is going to 2-1 their opponent. Okay, so I think they're actually going to win 2 games out of the 3, but I think it does not matter because these guys' lines right here are too big. So I just think that is simple, right? They're simply too big. I think I had to play that. Kind of had that same concept, and we did go ahead and hit, and I showed it yesterday, but this line is too high right now, so this line should be at about 31. This line is probably going to bump down to about 32. If it's at 32.5, take it. If it's at 32, I would still take it. All the way down to like 31.5. I wouldn't touch it at 31.5 anymore because it's too low. This is probably going to be one of those props that if we do hit, it's going to be like 31. It'll probably hit at like 31 because they are probably going to win 2 out of the 3 games, and it's going to be close, okay? So I honestly like this underdog play more than the Prizepicks play. But again, you guys like the Prizepicks entry. You guys can also take this underdog play on Prizepicks if you want. The lines are the same, I believe. But the thing about it is, why would you do that? Because underdog's giving you a 3.5x versus Prizepicks would only give you a 3x. So use these different apps, guys. It's 2026. To be profitable, you need additional apps on your phone, all right? If you're one of those people that only uses Prizepicks, I have bad news for you. You're probably not going to win long term. We can definitely win on Prizepicks, but you just are in the wrong mental state to be a profitable sports bettor. You have to make sacrifices sometimes to be a profitable sports bettor. One of those sacrifices is using additional apps other than Prizepicks, right? So hopefully you guys learned something today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. We did get a couple of hits on the past couple of videos with this SGA discount. That was nice to see. And we did get some hits on underdog and stuff. So going to be spamming entries going into tomorrow. The next day, going to be watching March Madness very closely. If you want to get into my VIP for March Madness, I'm going to be running a promo tomorrow, and I will have you guys get signed up for these apps. Like I said, get into March Madness. You'll get the whole month of really the next 30 days. So you're going to get all of March Madness. If you do sign up for any of those apps I talked about today, just go ahead and throw me a text. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.